Okay, yeah, we're actually live now. Yeah, cool. For Chinikechi, I'm a devrel engineer at Storyblock. I'm also a technical writer. And today I wanted to have a video call, like basically just a call where I get to talk to Shedrack. He has like a lot of ideas on getting remote jobs, right, for people that are in Nigeria and young like developers. So this is where we get to ask him questions on mostly getting remote gigs, growing as a software engineer, and those who are interested in moving into DevRel, what you advise for them, and just random jokes. So just introduce yourself and we can get to it.
Yeah, sure. My name is Shedrack Akintayo. I am a developer relations manager at Wilco. Wilco is a startup that does a gamified, way of learning for developers that want to improve their skills. So you should probably check out TryWilco.com and improve your skills. Yeah, that's pretty much about me. I have like a couple of years experience in working remotely. Um, that's pretty much why I'm here. I have been working remotely for foreign companies since 2018, and I've worked for startups in the US, startups in Europe, and also now in the Middle East. So I'm pretty much like in I've worked with startups from different parts of the world and continents. So I have about 6 years, 6, 7 years experience in tech, mostly as a software engineer and now a developer advocate, and that's pretty much everything about me.
Nice, like very funny stuff. When I started learning to code and then I joined Twitter, and then I think you were working for that Reliance or something then. I was like
Yeah,
following one of your tweets one time and I was like, okay, cool. And I just, you complained a lot about Nigerian companies. I said I was not going to work for any Nigerian companies. So even
well,
till now,
I'm
I'm not
happy.
working in Nigerian companies. Like,
I'm
and I've
happy
been
you
working
took
since
my advice.
19. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Yeah, I combined a couple of questions with basically friends who DM'd me like on WhatsApp and all that, and random people on
mhm,
Twitter who wanted to ask questions. So I'm just
mhm.
gonna take them like one after the other. But first, we'll tackle the remote jobs questions and move into DevRel, and then
Okay,
personal questions can come at the end.
okay.
Yeah. First question says, how can somebody position themselves for remote jobs? Especially if you have like very low years of experience, like you're like 1 or 2 years in the business of software engineering. How do you like position yourself for remote jobs?
Um, I think it's all about how you carry yourself. So the thing is, people see value in people that like position themselves, that like speak highly of themselves. So the first thing you probably want to do is to talk about what you do a lot, like a lot. Shout. You can use my megaphone, shout everywhere. I can write code. I can do this what I don't. This is what I did today. This is what I've done so far. Right. These things will make sure that make people, even people that even do not want to employ you, actually want to interview you. Right. So
Yeah,
the first
true.
thing you probably want to do, yeah, talk about your work a lot, talk about what you do, showcase your stuff, post about everything, write blog posts about what you've done. It's really, really important because shows people, it basically makes you open to the world, basically, right? Some people might not be hiring, right? But because of they've seen what you've done, they've seen everything you've done, I'm like, this person seems like a great idea. Let's create a position for him, right? That's
Yeah.
or him or her or they. Sorry. So that's pretty much it. I think one other thing also is to have clean up your CV, right? I know that a lot of people, because of the fact that you don't have a lot of experience, right? Um, Positioning your CV in such a way that it pass ATS. So ATS is like a software that's recruiting that firms basically use to gather relevant candidates. So for example, if I submit my CV to a company. Some companies probably have a software that checks that CV for specified keywords, right? If I'm hiring a
Yeah.
senior backend engineer, I'll be probably looking for, maybe if it's for Golang, probably looking for distributed systems somewhere in your CV. Probably looking for experience with Go. Probably want, so the software basically scans your CV automatically and gives them relevant choices. So sometimes the rejection mail you get is not because of the fact that someone saw it and gave it to you. It's actually an automated software that checks your CV to see if this person matches the keywords available, and if not, send the rejection mail. Um they found that particular keyword, then they alert the hiring manager. Hiring manager now actually looks at your CV. So there are software, there are like CV templates out on the internet that you can use to actually um design your CV, right? Um,
Yeah.
so just a quick Google search on like CV templates that can pass 8 years, and you will see a lot of them. And again, one other thing you need to do is that aside even structuring your CV in a type of way that passes 8 years, one other thing is you should learn how to talk about what you've done in previous position, right? So if I'm a developer that works at that's worked at Twitter, right, and I want to
Yeah.
position myself in such a way that recruiters take me seriously, I would say, okay, what have I done in Twitter? Okay, I worked on the blog feature. I allowed people block 500,000 people. That's what I did, right? And I handled a system that you have to make your work sound serious, right? So that people know, okay, this guy actually made impact, right? If your company has 5,000 users, you said you provide services that handled 5,000 users, like look at those numbers are like things recruiters, hiring managers want to see. How do you handle skill, right? These are like things that are really, really important in terms of on passing just the CV side of interviews. Then another thing you need to do is aside just preparing your CV, putting yourself, you need to prepare yourself as a person, right? Interviewing is an entirely different skill from even knowing how to code, right? Interviewing is
Yeah.
something that even the best engineers, if they don't prepare well, they will fail a job interview. It doesn't really matter the kind of experience they have, it doesn't matter where they've worked. The thing is they don't just know how to interview. Right. So learn how to answer interview questions. You can check the Amazon star principles. That's like the easiest method that you can use. Is basically star means situation, task, action, and result. So if I ask you a question, like if someone asks you a question like, can you tell us about a time where you've had to solve a particular problem in your organization, right? The first thing you probably want to know the situation, what happened, what was the problem you're trying to solve, then the task, how are you able to break down that solution, that problem into solution. So the task would be, okay, I first identified the problem, which was XYZ, then I proceed to talk to my hiring manager XY. So answering questions like you actually know what you're doing, like a professional will actually help you pass interview. Then the next one is action. What did you do to solve that problem? Right? I did this, I wrote this, I fixed this, and I put the push. Then the result, okay, what happened after I solved the problem? This helps our users handle traffic, have our application handle traffic more, increase our users from XYZ to XYZ. So this way is basically one of the fastest ways to be able to impress your interviewer, right? So learning how to interview is a different skill. You need to improve your interviewing skills because coming from where we are generally as Africans or whatever
Yeah.
underrepresented groups, you have very, very little chance to actually impress
True.
interviewers when you're looking for foreign gigs. So you need to be like have a game. They are always looking for one small thing that they'll use to
To
disqualify
take
you
you
from.
out. True.
Yeah, so you have to not give them any chance. So cover all the loopholes that you possibly can. I mean, it's not fair, but that's what we have to do basically. So cover all the loopholes and you would be fine. I think one other thing is to also apply, right? Everybody keeps saying, how do you get a job? How do you get a foreign job? How do you get a foreign job? I think you should just apply. Any job you see, apply. As long as you feel like, even if you feel like you don't even match the amount of requirements, even if it's only 50%, you feel like you reach, apply for that role. The main thing is like I said, interviewing does not it's not a representation of your skill level. It's just representation of how good you are in terms of interviewing. As I say, it's another different skill entirely. Someone can be as good, or somebody might not have the same level of technical experience that you have, but that person can beat you at an interview if that person knows how to interview better than you. So you have to actually brush up your interviewing skills, right? Make sure that when you ask questions, you can provide answers. When you do not know answers to questions, don't try to know don't try to say rubbish. Just say you
Yeah.
don't know it, right? There's no harm in saying that you don't know it because a lot of times recruiters know what they ask you before they even ask you. They know the answers to what they've asked you. If you try to say rubbish, it might just tick them off. So being truthful and honest is what most of the time recruiters are looking for. And yeah, so applying for most jobs as you can. Look for job boards. There are jobs on LinkedIn. You can check remote.ok.io. You can take remote.jobs. Like so many jobs board for remote jobs. Just keep applying, right? It's a numbers game. If you apply every single day, you wake up apply 100 roles. At least, anyhow, you will see 10 responses, 20 responses. The next day, like, at the end of the day, you will definitely get a call back or you get a chance to interview, right? When you
Yeah.
get the chance to interview, so you need to show your interviewing skills. Then one other thing is write, right? Not everybody knows how to write, but writing can basically expose you to people that are in organizations that can probably refer you. For example, if you for example, if someone in an organization probably are hiring a backend engineer, and the backend engineer in the organization sees your article on how to do xyz in backend, and all of a sudden like it solved the company's problem, don't you think that when you apply to that particular role coincidentally and like, oh, this person has actually helped us in the team, let's move into the next stage. I've had a friend that went for an interview, and the funniest thing is that the hiring manager who we were interviewing had used his open source code, right? So it wasn't even a long process. It was not a
Yeah, true.
long process. You just moved him to the final stage, the cultural fit, and they send him an offer. So putting yourself out there, showing your skills is like really, really important if you want to impress in the job markets where there are like thousands of developers looking for a job, and you are like underrepresented. You are like from a very small town or very small continent, or very compared to like people that are actually. So you have to give them reason that, okay, why are we leaving our continent, going to an entirely different continent and hiring from there? Do you understand the stress that comes with that, right? They have to pay the wire transfer fees down to Nigeria, and that's like really, really expensive. So, you need to impress them, right? And
Yeah,
I think those what I've said so far can basically increase your level of getting a remote job when you apply for roles and when you are searching for one.
yeah, true. Because I remember one time, like my current role, I had this code I copied from Stack Overflow that would basically help you like search and then return an object, right? Turns out that the code I copied, I wasn't sure what it does, and I missed like a letter. So the manager asked me, "Oh, what do you think is missing here when you run this code?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I just copied this from Stack Overflow." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, you can add this. You could do this." And he ended up teaching me about it. So I agree with the fact that he said being honest and then writing too. Like I've had offers on LinkedIn for posts just like read articles that I wrote on Dog Rocket or Smashing, and that's like something I always encourage all my friends to do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned something, and one more question actually comes to mind, right? So someone asked that now we're like all in Nigeria, and then you have like skills. You have the amount of skill set, the years of experience. Now, do you think that going for online schools that teach computer science would be an added benefit, or what do you think about that?
Honestly, I will not be. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to give, but in my opinion, right? You can learn everything you can learn, or you want to learn on the internet for free. I honestly do not believe in giving an institution giving an institution money to actually teach you something when you can learn online by just paying for courses. I mean, there are different ways people can learn, right? Some people need holding hands, but most of the time, these computer institutions actually don't really do much, right? They
True.
just basically give you, okay, this is a curriculum, follow this curriculum, read, watch this video, do that. They don't really like the only thing I would say is that they put you in positions to get jobs, and most of the time you have to give them like a certain percentage of your salary for a couple of months before. So I feel like it's just not. I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't think it's something that I would want to do personally or want to encourage anybody in my school to do. But I mean, there are some that are doing great, right? I think
Yeah.
alt school is probably doing great so far. So I don't know, right? I'm very, very in between. I cannot say it's a good thing. I cannot say it's a bad thing. I just say just try anything that works and see. But me personally, my first advice would be before trying to go to all those schools, right? Try and see if you can learn on your own. There's a shit ton of
Resources.
resources on YouTube. There's free code camp. There are like a lot of people that are actually giving out additional free information that you can actually learn from. So just try those out first. If it's not working, then you can proceed to go to online schools.
Oh, okay. Okay. That like makes sense. Wait, I have like one more question. So I see a lot of like my friends who I know are junior engineers, and they're like probably working for one company remotely. Then all of a sudden I hear them say things like, "I think I should relocate," and I'm like, "What?" So what is your like idea and thoughts on folks who just want to relocate once they get like a remote role, or who feel like relocating is a better option than maybe staying here, completing school and all that?
I don't know, different stroke for different folks, yeah. But me personally, I feel like I will always advise you to, in your first 6 months of a role, don't relocate, right? Even if they keep on pressuring you, don't relocate. 6 months is usually the time people use to understand the kind of company they're working for, the kind of colleagues they have, what their company really, really is about, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you relocate less than 6 months and you don't like the work you're doing anymore, or you don't like what the companies are doing, or they even sack you, right? It's a big risk. So I love to advise people to take like 6 months before they even decide to relocate at any point, right? If you decide to stop school, I mean that's you, right? That's your problem for the most part. That's your problem. But if you feel like school is not working for you, just do it, right? Just leave. Honestly, just leave. For most of the time, school is not worth it, and some other time school is worth it. So just ask yourself, right? Do I really need this? If your answer to it is yes, then stay in school. If you cannot answer that question, then you probably should leave school, right? So that's my advice. I don't like to give straightforward answers because there's different
True.
people. Yeah, different reasons people do things. So just ask yourself the questions. Ask your friends, ask people around you. Seek advice and make your decision yourself. But at the end of the day, now you hear yourself. You go still carry anything
Okay.
with up.
Okay, but are there like any reasons you've not relocated yet?
Eh?
Are there any reasons you've not relocated yet?
I don't believe in paying tax. I honestly don't believe in paying tax. I cannot leave my country, go to another country and pay 40% of my salary. Why? Why should I do that? For what
Like
reason?
that is a
I
lot
mean,
actually. Like
yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot of money. Like it's like I'm working for. I mean, it's better life, right? It's a better life, but I'm optimizing for much more than what those countries can give me. In a country like Europe, you'd probably never get rich. You can probably never see 500,000 euros in your
yeah,
account. Probably never,
true.
because of the
I
amount of times you have to pay tax. But
yeah,
in Nigeria, if I save my money enough in the next 2-3 years, I can see that in my account because there's nobody collecting my money for me, right? But then again, like I said, there are different stories for different folks. A lot of people might say, okay, I want to have better health care. I want to have I don't want to just be kidnapped. I don't want to do anything and the rest. I mean, I
yeah.
would I would still relocate, but I just feel like my path currently in life does not warrant me to relocate. But when it does, I would be the first person to relocate.
Oh, okay. Okay. That like makes sense because I remember I was in Vienna like a couple of months, a couple of weeks back, and then it was really beautiful place by the way. Until I heard that they pay 52% tax, and I'm like, what? What do you mean 52? Like
You're working for the government.
that's that's like nah, I can't even imagine. That's like too much. Like 50 something, even 40 is like a lot by all margins. Then when you see it's
As
the extra
in,
like 12, nah, that won't work for now. Okay, so I see a lot of people on Twitter who are moving to DevRel, asking that they are open for DevRel folks, DevRel roles. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That is a good thing. I'm like, so what advice do you have for people like this who want to switch to DevRel? Actually, for the wrong notion that you don't code in like in DevRel or as a developer advocate. I always laugh at that thing. Like, I'm
if
like,
if if you believe that you want to become a developer advocate because you don't code, you're in for a very
ah,
big surprise.
ah,
You will be in shock when you see what you have to do as a developer advocate. But I would say, don't try to join Devrel because you see Devrel people traveling. You see Devrel people, yeah, just chilling. You believe that yeah, we are chilling, but honestly, the workload is a lot. You're going to do
yeah,
a lot of context switching. You're going to be doing a lot of context. You're going to be away from your family a lot of times, which is not something a lot of people can handle. So ask yourself really quick the question, right? do I love do I love helping developers? If the answer to that is yes, then you should consider becoming DevRel. But if you've not at any point tried to even help developers, maybe write articles, help your fellow. I'm not sure you're going to enjoy the role because you would
true.
be angry most of the time, right? So I think that Devil is open to every single person, right? There's no
Yeah,
bias, there's no discrimination, every single person. But if your notion for change switching Devil is that okay, we're not going to be writing code, you don't want to write code, okay, you can probably consider a community manager role. Okay, cool. But at the developer advocate role, you probably, even if it's not all the time, you will still write code. There's no way you're
exactly,
escaping that thing.
exactly. Like
There's
you
no
will.
way.
I mean, you have to write
So
your own code
just
for conferences and other things too.
yes,
You have to test a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
APIs too. Ah,
yeah. You have to do demos. You have to write articles, and to write articles, you have to write code. So
exactly.
there's really no escaping from writing code, right? So just ask yourself if you love helping developers. If the answer to that is yes, then consider giving it a shot at DevRel.
Okay. Wait, still on DevRel questions. Like, so basically, for someone who's new at DevRel, let's say someone recently transitioned to DevRel and is like less than 6 months or 6 months in the game. Like, what advice would you give for that person to like grow their careers?
Yeah, I think my major advice would be open to trying out several things. Right, there's no right way to do DevRel. You have to be iterating, reading documentation, reading what people other people have done, and experimenting with it and seeing how it helps for you. And one other thing is to speak to a lot of DevRel people. Right, one thing I believe helped me when I was switching to developer relations is I spoke to every single person in DevRel that I could possibly find. I spoke to people in Google, spoke to people at Twitter. I spoke to a lot of people, and honestly, the ideas, the advice, every single thing that I got from those people is basically what has gotten me to the point that I've worked in different startups in different industries, and honestly, their advices has been keeping me going because these people are more experienced. They know what's up. They know what you should be expecting. So getting advice from them, really getting advice from them. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Also, getting advice from these people is really, really important, and it would like really, really help you grow your career. Another thing is that do not be, don't be in your comfort zone for too long. In Devil, you can at some point see yourself not progressing at all because you're not really doing any major things. You've understood the product. There's nothing else other than understanding the product, developers, and don't allow yourself to be confined to that space, right? Learn other things, experiment with other products. Don't necessarily have to spend your time working on most of your time working on your company's product. Try other things. No, the world is growing. The software development world is advancing every single day. So you have to be on your top A game if you want to transition to another company, unless you believe that okay, this company will never sack me, or this company I'll be here for the rest of my life. Feel free to stay in your comfort zone. But if you want to
True.
progress in your career, then you should be constantly learning, constantly, looking for ways to experiment new ideas. I think that would really, really help you grow your, career in developer
Okay.
relations.
Yeah, cool. That like totally works. Like, so how exactly do you personally like measure your success as a DevRel person?
I think my major metric for measuring success as a developer person, right, is the amount of feedback I get from the community. Every other feedback to me is vanity. Every other feedback is vanity. I am working for my community. My community employed me. So the amount of feedback, positive feedback I get from my community in terms of, hey, this doc helped me solve this problem. This video helped me do this, do that. Thank you for helping me, support me. These things help. These things really, really motivate me to want to do more. So that's my major way of measuring success as a developer person for myself. But if I want to measure vanity metrics for company, for my KPI will measure the amount of uh, blogs that have been created, views, clicks. Those really really small details are like, of course, I need to help my KPI. The amount of community members we have, also measure like things like very very me. I don't take those things as really serious things. I take the feedback I get
Yeah.
the most seriously, but to satisfy upper management, clicks, views, amount of engagements that the product is getting, the amount of downloads the product is getting, the amount of documentation I've written, the amount of people that are easily using our documentation. Those things I measure all of them on the side. But personally, to me, the positive feedback I get from the community about the work we are doing, the work I'm doing, is the highest level of data I can collect from my community or metric I can use to measure my success.
Okay. That like totally works. That totally works. I like the fact that you said like the most important thing is like community feedback, honestly. Because at the end of the day, you're actually working for the community and no one else. So
Yeah, yeah, like basically nobody else. Your community owns you, man. Your community is like
sure.
everything.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, somebody asked, how much money do you have now and then where can it take you? I have to ask
Eh?
that. Somebody asked how much money do you have right now and then where can it take you? I have to ask honestly.
I only have to pay you, and you cannot take me anywhere. Oh. They carry me go where I don't know. I only have 2K.
You have to sow a seed. Send me 1K. Then you're gonna have 1K. Then
It's
you
a
go just
only
for account somewhere.
Now wickedness with that. Only 2K I dey manage.
Yeah, somebody asked, "What's your plan for the next 5 years?" And I was like, "Wait, I don't even know my okay. I know my plans for the next 1 week, but 5 years. So, what's your plans for the next 5 years?"
My plan for the next 5 years. Hmm. Honestly, my plan for the next 5 years is just to be living a soft life, man. Like, um, apart from career wise, I just want to be living a very very easy life, easy going life. I want to do a lot of traveling. I want to travel every month, every single month. I want to travel. Doesn't necessarily have to be relocation, but I just want to travel, and
Sweet.
yeah, I want to just be happy. Like I'm the kind of person that don't have a lot of aspirations. I just want to be happy. I just want to have money, and I just want my family members and my loved ones to be smiling. That's pretty much it for me. I
Finally,
don't
someone
have
that
any
says it.
special. I don't have any special. I want to build Twitter. I want to build Facebook. Nah,
I
that's not my
swear,
lifestyle.
like, oh,
I just want to be chilling. That's it for me, man.
like I always tell my friends this thing. Like, I just want to be happy, guy. Like, I don't want to build any massive thing. I don't want to be one
As
big
in,
person.
just live a very
Just
soft
live
life.
chill, take care of family, be okay, travel, maybe every 2 months or 3 months. No
Yeah,
stress. That's all.
that's
Like,
exactly how it
all
is,
this
bro.
whole build this one, build that one. Leave me
I'm
alone.
not. I know. It's not my shit. It's not me for me. It's not for me.
I know,
Please.
I know I'm build. Ah. No, yeah. There's something going on with the. I'm gonna focus on the Nigerian like tech Twitter, where every
Mm-hmm.
Monday there's like maybe dragging and all that and all that. And then there's
Every
another
Monday.
set of another like group of people who basically there's always a lot of advice to give for junior people. They're like not that tech influencers. And I'm like when I started, I just had to like come on Twitter, maybe read tweets from you, Big Brother, Prosper will tell me you, and I'm like, I need to go back to learning React and PHP. And I was happy. And then this is like 10 things to do to grow a career, learn JavaScript and you will change your life. And I'm like, has something changed that I
Yeah.
don't know? Something. So what do you think, honestly?
To be honest, right, I feel like we're focusing on the wrong things. Um, yeah, I know that when we started out our own thing,
Yeah,
it was just very few people that were even using Twitter, right? Twitter was not really that much of a big deal. I mean, you would see Prosper, you would see Codebeast, you see Femi Taiwo, you see OO, like people that like have played the game. They don't really say much, right? Most of what they are saying is things that will help your life. But these days, I don't know. I feel like we are copying from the Western world, we're copying from the US, all these US tech influencers, and it's a very very bad habit, right? Me personally, I always say I want Gen Z. I'm also Gen Z though, but I want this generation of developers that are just coming up to focus on learning. Like, learning aspects is really really important. I honestly, I would not lie, I followed the wrong way when I was starting, right? I
yeah,
spent more time talking about what I can do without doing anything to show for it, right?
yeah,
And that's like one of my major problems when I was starting out. And honestly, I believe that if I was more focused when I started learning, when I was more focused on my learning, I believe I would be in a better position than I am at the moment,
yeah,
right? But thank God for His mercies. We're able to figure out, okay, this is where I'm doing it wrong, and this is able to quickly fix it. But honestly, I pray. I'm always saying this when I see or when I see people, young digital developers seeing things on Twitter. Like, I always pray that God, please don't let this people make the mistake I made, because some people might not have the opportunity or the chance to rectify that mistake, like I
yeah.
did. So I keep saying it, please and please, like, focus more on your learning. The hard skills is important. Anybody can blow their own, but if you blow your own and there's nothing to show for it, I mean, everybody is advising you, show yourself. But if you show yourself and there's nothing to show, it's going to be a very, very bad problem. Oh. It's going to be a really, really bad problem. So,
True.
my major advice is, please and please, I beg you in the name of God, please focus on actually learning how to code, learning how to think, how to solve problem, problem solving, right? Learn how to be good, because there's time for loud, making noise on Twitter. There's always time for that. Twitter is going to remain in the next 20 years if Elon Musk was not destroyed. Twitter is going to remain for the longest time. You can blow your horn as much as you can, but for
True.
now, while you are saying the early phase, focus more on your growth. It's really really important.
Nice, great. Honestly, like these are like most of the questions I have. Like I hope someone doesn't like ask any more questions. To be honest, like, you guys have asked enough. Implement the ones you've heard. So these are most of the questions I have. But I wanted to say it's really like nice to have you here. I at first I was like, let me just enter your DM and just drop the message like Fast and Furious style. You get. So I'm like, okay, really glad that worked out fine, honestly. So thank you for coming on board. I hope this helps someone out there who's just like starting out or who's probably shouting about all the things they can do that they've not done on Twitter. That would be fun. And anybody else who wants to transition to devrel. So I want to say thank you for coming on board. And maybe let's do this like next time, another time. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I muted myself. I said, yeah, I'm always happy to come on this show. Like, no, anytime, just hit me up and I'll fit it to my schedule.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, sure.